Now that my AutoSpill runs are done, I need to get the results and actually apply them to my OMIQ workflow. So I could choose either one. I'll just go with this one. I'll open it up. We can look and see if there's any interesting logs that you can look through, and then we'll go to the results section. And in the results section, we can see that we have two fundamental results. Well, maybe three, because we did auto-gating. The auto-gating results are stored as a new column. It's kind of like how clustering results are stored, how cleaning results are stored, etc. We'll show you how to deal with that in a second. For now, what we're concerned about is getting this AutoSpill spillover. This is the actual compensation matrix, or more properly, it's called a spillover matrix that we'll be applying inside of OMIQ to our data. So I'll go ahead and download that and open it in Excel. Okay, now I'm in Excel. And by the way, any spreadsheet software will work fine. It doesn't need to be Excel. And I'm just going to copy this matrix. And then I'll go back over into OMIQ. And what I need to do is apply this compensation. I need to paste it in. A convenient place to put it would be here in this compensation that's already ready for us, followed by scaling. Alternatively, what I could do is, if I wanted to make sure that I knew where this compensation came from, I could just choose to put a compensation after this AutoSpill, and I could do it here and then continue my workflow from there. Either one works. Because it's simple, what I'll do is simply use this one that already exists. I'll open it up, and then I'll go and I'll just take this matrix and I will click the paste button and paste in my CSV, and now we have the compensation matrix set. We will, of course, make sure to save this. And then from here, what we can do is start to look at what that compensation looks like. Of course, we need to make sure that scaling is applied after that initial compensation step, as usual. And then we could do, for example, something like make a figure. And in this figure, perhaps we want to look at n by n plots of, and I'll just paste in my parameters again, our compensation. Here I'm looking at one of my singly stained controls, and maybe I don't want to do that. So what I'll do instead is just look at my PBMC sample. And now we can see what those data look like. And we can see how good of a job AutoSpill did. And it looks pretty good at first glance, but I do see one parameter that looks a little bit questionable. And I think this just is a consequence of having not a very good control for this parameter. This one right here. And so to override or otherwise edit this compensation, it's the same as you already know how to do from our other tutorial videos. The real trick is you want to get two screens of OMIQ open at the same time, which I will demonstrate here. In order to get into this configuration, what I did was I simply duplicated my browser tab, pulled it out, and put it over on the left. Now that I'm in this configuration, I can adjust the compensation matrix, and I'll see these plots update. Because I know that I'm adjusting the compensation between PerCP Sci55 and Alexa 647, on the x-axis, I'll find that going on the y-axis first. So I'll find PerCP, and then I'll find the intersection with Alexa 647, and now I can start to play with that. And I probably need to lower it, and I'll see it come off the axis there. Okay, it looks better. By the way, we're not necessarily advocating for this strategy, but we do accept that it is very common, and in practice, sometimes it's used to correct these compensation issues. We now know how to do a basic analysis of looking at the compensation after we calculated it using AutoSpill. We noted that we needed to talk about using the gating results. We know that we used gating in this AutoSpill run. And we know that the results are stored as a column of information. And so in order to get access to that column, we use the typical strategy of opening gating. And we'll use categorical filters in order to choose that column. And then we'll just say AutoSpill gate. You can name this whatever you want. Again, this is covered in the general tutorial, so you can watch a video on it there too. And now we'll have the actual auto-gating result as gates here. And so, for example, we could go to forward scatter versus side scatter, and we could activate the rejected data, and we could activate the actually gated data. It can gate a fairly small population. So we'll save this, and now after this gating step, we could make some visualizations of this information in a figure, for example. maybe what we do is we make an overlay. And in this overlay, what we would do is overlay unfiltered with our actual AutoSpill gate 1, which means passed. And we want to set our parameters to side scatter and forward scatter. It's a bit hard to see because it's beads, but then you can see exactly what it is. We could then permute this if we wanted to look at all the files. Okay, we can see the different pattern of gating for each file. And then of course there is the diagnostic results for this run. You can read the documentation to learn more about all the diagnostics kept here, but there's lots of different plots and statistics that can help you understand exactly how the AutoSpill run went.